Hi everyone, good morning. Am I audible clearly? Please write yes in the chat box. If I'm audible clearly, you can write yes in the chat box in the Q&A. Okay, so let's start. My name is Ashutosh and I am associated with the Head and Not here. Today's webinar is about IELTS. We'll be discussing the topics and the pattern of the IELTS. Okay, and after that we'll also have a webinar on SAT. Okay, so firstly we'll be discussing about the IELTS. After that we'll be going towards the SAT part. All right, so let's start. So we are from Head and Not. We are the largest study abroad consultant, and we help students from the career counseling to the visa. Okay, so in which we have the admission process and the applications, test prep, everything involved. All right. If you are planning for study abroad, there are certain skill sets which are required, such as the research skill, technical proficiency, analytical skills, quantitative skills, and so many other skills. Okay, here at HNR, we help you in terms of growing all the skills which are required for your study abroad. Okay. What are the services we offered at HNR? So there are two things. One is the test prep, and other is the admission process. And test prep, we have IELTS and TOEFL, PTE, which are the language tests, the three. Then we have PSAT, we have SAT, we have ACT, we have UCAT, IMAT. UCAT and IMAT are basically for the medical programs, and GRE and GMAT for Masters and Management programs. Okay. If we talk about the admission process, firstly, we can start with the psychometric tests. It's a kind of scientific test which helps you in terms of getting your strength and weaknesses, and it suggests you like kind of AI-based scientific reports will be helping you in terms of understanding what kind of strong and weak areas we have, what kind of courses we have to choose. Okay, so from psychometric test to profile building, we'll be helping you in terms of getting a good profile. What are the recommendations? What are the recommendations given by the psychometric test? Will help you to understand that. Then the career guidance will be helping you in terms of understanding what are the career choices you can make. Then we'll be also helping in terms of university selection and shortlisting. Then SOP and LOR, and then scholarship and financial planning, which is obviously very important if you are planning to go abroad for studies. And then at last, the visa assistant. Okay, so these all are the services that we offer at HNR. If you are looking for any of them, you can always reach out to us. Here are some of the results that we have achieved in the IELTS in the last year, where you can see we have achieved 8.5 and 8 out of the 9 band in the IELTS. Here are certain scholarships that we have received in the last years, which you can see till 1 lakhs US dollar. Okay, so we have a good amount of scholarships that we have received within the last year for all the students, and a good scores that we have received for all the students. This is about us, but now because we have to move towards the IELTS. Okay, so we are going to discuss what exactly is the IELTS and all. Now, Jyoti ma'am will be giving you a brief about what is IELTS, what is the exam pattern. Jyoti ma'am, over to you. I'll be handing over this session.
Okay, thank you so much, Ashutosh. Good morning, everyone. So this is the IELTS exam. Basically, this exam talks about the international English language test. So this test is for all the foreign countries that you are planning to visit for your academics that you want to do. All these countries have the English. So that is the reason that they demand that every student who is coming there for the graduation or the master's or even for the diploma course should have a fluency in the English language tense. Hence, this exam is just about your communication English. And this exam is also acceptable as written over here. 10,000 organizations in over 140 countries. And we all have to agree that English is the most spoken language in the world. Okay. So we do have IDP as the conducting body of the University of Cambridge, which is the authorized center for this exam. You would get the certification, the report card from the University of Cambridge only. They would be conducting your exam as well. They would be making your question paper and you would be starting from the University of Cambridge only. But this exam is conducted by or cells by the IDP over here in India. These are the two modules of the IELTS exam. One is the general IELTS and the academic, and the other one is the academic one. General IELTS exam is for the people who are looking for the job opportunities or the permanent residency over there. But today we would be talking about the academic IELTS test, which is basically for you students who are planning to go abroad for their education. And these are the two different types of exam. One is your pen and paper test, which has two limitations. The number one is that it has limited test dates. This exam is conducted hardly once in a month or maximum twice in a month. That is a particular date, a releasing date for the exam. And this is the traditional method of taking the exam, just like your schools where you would be sitting for 3 hours and would write the exam using the pen and paper. The result of this exam also comes into 10 to 15 days. Obvious reasons, because this exam sheet would go to foreign and it would be checked and then it would come back. But the second exam type that we have got over here is the computer-based exam. The best thing over there is that because it is a computer-based exam, you can just go to the IDP center and give the exam. The test dates are available almost every day and there are 3 slots per day. So you just have to book this test. You can just book the test even a day before and give the exam. And because it's the digital exam, the result also comes maximum in 4 days. The exam pattern is exactly same. The structure is exactly same for both pen and paper and computer-based. The validity for the score is 2 years. And the band score is 1 to 9, which means that you would get the minimum, generally they give is the 4, and the maximum is 8 or the 9 score. And the general eligibility that the universities demand is 7. There is no pass and fail. Even if you have got 5, you can apply to the universities, but it depends on their eligibility score, what they demand. Okay. Now let's understand the exam structure. The exam of the IELTS, as I've told you earlier, this is completely a communication-based exam. They are just checking how well you communicate in the English language. That is why this exam is structured on the 4 basic pillars of the communication. The first one is listening. How do you listen it? And over there, they would be giving you 4 different sections, and every section would have almost 10 questions into it. And you would be required to do this exam into 30 to 40 minutes. You would be following, you would be listening in audio, and on the basis of the listening, you have to fill up the answer choices over there. The second one is your reading exam, which is a 1 hour exam. In this exam, you would have the reading comprehension just like your schools. But over here, the question types would be like objective, whereas either you have to fill in with 1 word or you have just to take in the true, false and the match the following. And the total number of questions in the reading passage again would be the 40. The third part is your writing, whereas you would be provided with the 2 different tasks. The time given would be 1 hour. The last one is your speaking test. That would be a face-to-face conversation with an examiner. The minimum time would be 10 to 12 minutes and the maximum goes to 14 to 15 minutes. This is not an interview. This is just the conversation in which they would be communicating with you and they would see how well you can communicate into this English language. Let's now understand each of the different 4 exams of this or the sections of this exam. The first one, like I said, is the listening section, whereas generally the whole audio is for 30 to 35 minutes. And if you are doing the pen and paper based exam, you would be provided 10 minutes to transfer those answers into the OMR sheet. But if you are doing the computer based exam, you would not be having any extra time to transfer your answers. As you listen it, you have to fill in the answers in the computer. The second thing that you have to understand is the types of questions in the listening exam. The first type is the multiple choice. There would be 3 answer choices and half of the statement would be written as the question and the other half statement would be the answer. So you would be listening to the audio of maybe 2 people or 3 people conversing about submitting the project, conversing about, talking about their teacher, or maybe environment. The whole topics are generally academic or very general. So you have to choose the one correct answer that they have said or they have discussed. The second type is matching, in which you may have a plan or a map or a diagram. So they would be discussing a diagram and you would be asked to label that diagram at the different points, or as a map of some university, and you would hear a conversation between an educational counselor of the university and the students, and he's taking them around to the all the different areas of the university. So you have to put in the name of the universities over there. The other parts are form and note completion, table completion, flowchart completion, summary completion. All these type of questions are just fill in the blanks that you do in the schools as well. And over here, the answer would be written with one blank only. That would be the one word answer. Even the short answer questions, you do not have to write a sentence over here. Either you have to choose one correct answer from the given answer choices, or you have to fill in with the one word answer. The audio cannot be repeated while you are listening it, and you cannot save it for the later part. You have to give the answers as you listen them. This would be whole listening part. You can just keep your questions with you. At the end, we'll give you time to ask any questions. Now, the second part is reading. As I've told you earlier, that this is a typical reading comprehension in which you would read the whole passage given to you, and there would be questions based on the reading comprehension. But fortunately, you do not have to write those one-liners or three-liners answers, as every question has the equal marking, and there are the different question types. The first one is multiple choice, just like the listening, whereas the choice would be of 3, and you have to choose the one correct answer based on the information given in the passage. The second one is true, false, not given, or yes, no, not given. Now, I can imagine what all you would be thinking as a student, that generally you have seen the true, false questions where the statement is right or wrong as per the information given in the passages. But over here, there is a tricky question called not given. That means they have talked about the information, but they have not given the complete information about it. Like, for example, they have told you that my name is Jyoti Chaudhary and I work for Hidden and Renault, but they have not told you that if I'm a maths trainer or the verbal trainer. So this is called an incomplete information that they have given you. And in that case, we would write the not given information. The other type of questions are similarly just like the listening part, whereas you have to match the information and there would be the diagram given or some map is given, or maybe there are summary, note completion or table completion, where again you will have to just fill in the answers with the one word, and that one word would also be taken from the reading passages. The one thing that we actually need to learn into these reading section is your time management, because you have to read these 3 long passages into 1 hour and fill in the 40 questions that are given to you. The second thing that actually, okay, Ananjit, can you just, okay, you can ask the question, I allow you. Anand, you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Ashutosh sir, can he do this?
Yes, ma'am. If he has any question, he can ask.
Okay. Yeah, Anand, is there any question? You raise your hand. If not, I'll move to the other part, which is your writing section at the end. This is an 1 hour section again, and in this you would be asked to do the 2 tasks. The task 1 is the basically data interpretation. You would be provided with the data that could be in the form of the numbers, and that can be a table, a graph, a chart, or diagram, by which, like generally you have seen that in the schools as well. Now I know that people are given to do this survey of the market, or maybe of any product, or maybe right now of the weather, that how's the weather in the different states. So this is the data that has been surveyed, and that data is being given to you, and you have to make a report out of it that can be submitted, and you have to believe that the examiner would not have the data with them. So your report should include all the information that is being given in the data in a structured format that can be easily understood. That is your task 1, and the word limit for this is 150 words. The second is the essay. This is a completely opinion-based essay where you would be given with a statement with the any general given topic, and you have to give your opinion. What is your opinion? If you agree or disagree, your opinion do not matter to them. You can agree or disagree with the statement completely, but what matters over there is how well you are presenting your idea, what are the reasons that you have, and what is the grammar and the vocabulary that you are using into your writing. That would completely a 1 hour task to you. These all three sections would be taken on one day continuously without any break. But when we talk about the last section, which is in speaking section, as I've told you that this is in conversation between you and the examiner. So this would be conducted some other day or some other time of the day, definitely. And in this speaking section, this is the minimum 11 minutes and the maximum 14 minutes conversation. I really do not think that this is an interview, because in interview, you are expected to give the right answers. And there is no right answer to the, you have to just give the relevant answers to the examiner. And they would asking like part, they would ask you about the basic introduction. Where do you live? What type of a food is famous in your state, and what kind of clothes people wear? Is jewelry a famous gift over there or not? So they are actually asking you and preparing you for the time when you would be in abroad, and maybe you are in USA and your people are asking you about your country, about your state. And first part, all the questions are basically based on these three things. In the second part, it is a long term, we also call it a cue card, because in this section they would be giving you one question. They would also give you a minute to prepare your answer, and after that you have to speak for 1.5 to 2 minutes about the given topic. In the third way, it is a two-way discussion. Discussion means that whatever answer that you're talking about, let's say you are talking about the weather, that this is too hot. So they would ask you that, is it similar to the previous year? Is it the regular thing in your Delhi? What about the other parts of the country? So it is a discussion that you would both would be doing about the weather. So that is again a very general topic. There is no right answer and wrong answer, but this is, they want to see that how well you communicate about your own things and how confident you are in speaking English language, and if there is any grammatical mistake or not, and what vocabulary you are using for these sections. So these are the 4 sections in which they would be evaluating your level of English language. That was all from my side. And now this is the time to raise questions and ask anything related to the IELTS exam and our organization.
So if you have any questions regarding the IELTS or about the courses and about anything that is relevant to the session, you can just raise your hand. We'll allow you to talk, and then you can ask your questions.
Anant, I believe that you were asking something. Please do ask your question now, even if it is about one section of the IELTS.
It was an accident, ma'am. I didn't mean to raise my hand.
Okay, no problem. Have you understood everything, Anant?
Yes, ma'am.
When are you planning for your further academics?
I'll talk to my mom about that.
In which standard you are right now?
9th.
Okay. Have you thought about your career right away? Are you thinking about any course of the university or college?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So do you know that IELTS is a mandatory exam that you would be required to give, Anand?
Yes, ma'am. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. We do have a lot of attendance, and I know that I'm a good commuter and you all have understood, but I'm sure that you might be having some questions in your mind, so you all can ask that.
So do not hesitate if you have any question. Okay. Any kind of question is a question. It's not like whether it's the right question or not.
Exactly.
So you can ask.
We do have Harika also. Harika, have you understood everything?
Okay,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So when are you planning to join this classes and start the process of going abroad?
Ma'am, I have discussed with my parents about that.
Okay. Where do you study, Harika?
Ma'am, EPG school.
Which one?
EPG school, Pitampura.
Okay. And which country that you are planning to go abroad?
Ma'am, I'm thinking for US.
Okay. Then the SAT exam and IELTS becomes both mandatory for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so after the session at 11:45, we'll be starting another session for the SAT, where we'll be discussing about the SAT and whatever the relevant things about that. In that also, if you'll be having any question, you can ask at last. Okay. Jyoti ma'am, do you think we should wrap up the session for now? Because again, we'll be starting after 15 minutes, right?
Okay.
With the SAT
Sure,
session.
sure.
So after that, if you are having any question, anything in your mind, you can ask your questions even in the next session. Okay, that could be even with related with the IELTS or even it is related to the SAT or even your profile building or any other process. If you are having any question about that, you can ask me. Okay. So thank you all for joining the session. I'll be again waiting for you after 15 minutes. So please do join the session about the SAT. And that's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you.